welcome back to another episode of the group chat where once again I am joined by Phil and we are in studio. It is Wednesday. The weekend feels like it is a long time ago. But anyway, over the weekend we had Premier League. We have the final round of NPC ahead of quarterfinals. We had UFC 307. We had the NRL Grand Final. And yesterday, we had the Northern Tour squads announced, both for the Big Boys team and the All Blacks 15. So, we're going to dive into all that stuff, but a couple days ago now, but what was your weekend highlight? What did you get up to? Anything interesting?
Man, I think 307 was my weekend highlight, in particular, Roundtree. I talked about it last week. I really did think it could go either way. I thought Roundtree was undervalued, and he did show up, particularly in those first two rounds. Knocked down Alex Pereira, and he was looking good. Obviously, I think Alex Pereira's sort of reach and cardio just sort of made the difference.
Even while he is sick.
Yep, battling with that little throat infection, so it really did make the difference. The fighting at elevation in Utah as well obviously made a difference, as it did across all the fights. But Roundtree, man, what a warrior, and also just a genuine
dog,
genuine good dude as well. And he's just got the right mindset, I think. So I think he's proven he belongs up the top there.
Yeah.
And I think he'll be in that division for a very, very long time up the top. So yeah, looking forward to more from him.
Did you see what Pereira weighed in at? Obviously, he had to go at 205.
Yeah, it was...
Or at like 230 or something.
He was like 10 kgs heavier by the time he was fighting.
So what? 205 is around 92 kgs.
Yeah, and he came in over 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is ridiculous, eh?
It's scary.
I have no idea how he got down to 185.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And they talked about just the power that guy has. The sound that it makes when he hits someone in the face is unlike anything. And you saw the damage. Yeah.
Oh
my God. He just rearranged. He's just like a surgeon out there.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
He's a reverse surgeon.
But no, the UFC 307, the crowd, I've seen a lot about the crowd and about Salt Lake City not really showing up. How did you feel the atmosphere in Utah was?
I think in terms of a UFC fan base, they're potentially some of the worst.
Why is it? Why do you think
because
they're just no good out there?
Because they're American. Because it is, as soon as there is any mixed martial art other than kickboxing on display, they just start booing. If someone goes to grapple or goes into a wrestle, they just start booing within like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
They just want punches.
Yeah.
They are so like, I don't know if it's just brain rot. I don't know if it's TikTok doom scroll, no attention span. As soon as there's any other martial art on display, they're like, boo. And then the only other thing they can do is chant USA 5 million times. They've got nothing.
That's all they do with
so
anything.
It's really lackluster.
USA.
Yeah. So yeah.
But it just sounded like they didn't turn up. Like it was a bit of a flat atmosphere. A lot of comments around on X saying like Salt Lake City should never have a pay-per-view again.
Yeah, compared to the card over in France, that crowd was nuts. They were so loud, so vocal. Wasn't even a PPV either.
Yeah, it was just a fight night, eh?
But yeah, Jose Aldo as well had a great fight. And I think in general with that Utah card, there was a lot of displeasure with the refs and
the judges.
Their judges.
Yeah. Would you want to touch on that? The Aldo fight first was kind of the first one.
Well, yeah, won't sit on it too long, but basically the judging was shocking. Even Dana White was like, he was so disappointed and so like, that's some of the worst judging I've ever seen.
Does Dana White, they must employ the judges. How does that work?
No, so it's done by like the local athletic authority of whatever state they're fighting in. So they're not UFC. They're not employed. They're done by their like state commission or whatever. So yeah, I'm glad he feels the same way because watching it and us in the flat, we're kind of like, man, some of these decisions, I'm like, are we watching a different fight? But it turns out no, the judges were just not on form, it would seem. Jose Aldo, I think deserved the win, and also Pennington, the way she came back, particularly in that 5th round, she kind of dominated. You could argue she holds on to the belt as well. She thought she did enough. And Jose Aldo, I thought he did enough because Batista just wasn't. He had no output. He was losing. He knew he was losing going toe-to-toe. So he pushes Jose Aldo against the fence, which is fine if you're going to try and, capitalize on
actually
that.
Make the most
use some damage,
control,
but you were stalling. You had control time and did nothing.
The final bell.
So I think a lot of people were really disappointed with that result as well. But Jose Aldo looking good, even in the altitude and everything. He's still fast, man. He's 40 years old.
Yeah,
and he's still got hands.
What did he have to say after his fight? Did he mention anything about coming back again, or is he pretty close to hanging up the gloves?
I didn't see his post match.
No,
but even Mario Bautista was doing. He was saying like, "Oh, I did what I had to do to win that," and he knew he was losing on the feet. So yeah, he did what he had to do. But at the end of the day, entertainment sport. Who had all the output? Etc. Who did all the damage? It's disappointing to see a result like that.
Do you think we see Pereira again before the end of the year?
Probably.
It wouldn't surprise me.
What, he's had 3 title defenses in 7 months. So I don't know. He did take a bit more damage.
Yeah, I think he took a bit more than he was maybe expecting, or other people were expecting.
Yeah, went into the 4th round. He normally finishes within the 3, so depends how his head's feeling and whatnot. But yeah, dude's a warrior. So
then his recovery from whatever antibiotics he was on, and depends how he feels. But I also saw and mentioned it earlier was Conor McGregor having $1 million bet, talking about you got to take risks. But he's betting on a $1.20 result for either fighter to win by KO or TKO. Obviously, they returned a cool $1.2 million. Nice $200K. But
must be nice.
$1 million bet at $1.20. If you're at $1 million bet, do you reckon what kind of odds are you looking at? You want to go play it safe with you can afford to lose your $1 million. That doesn't matter. Are you gonna go and put on like a $2 odds, or you're pretty happy to sit at like $1?
I'd like to think so. I'd be aiming for the 180s at least, like a Pereira by knockout, for example, maybe. That would be around that margin. But hey, profit's profit. So but to call it a risk is, I would say, inaccurate. You've taken the shortest odd possible outside of Pereira to win that at 120. So I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like, if you're putting $1 million on it and it's $1.20.
It is $1 million. Don't get me wrong.
You're returning $200K. So it's not like you're not making any money.
Yeah.
As opposed to putting $10 on it and returning $12.
Yeah. And you're also not doubling your money. So
yeah.
But you're also not losing $1 million. So therefore, I don't know. Is it a risk? I guess it is, because it's $1 million at stake, but the reward doesn't seem necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's McGregor. We know what he's like.
Yeah.
So
you got to win that bet 5 times to double your money, or to make it a good return. But anyway, $200K is $200K.
Yep.
You take that.
You would.
Yeah, I'd like to see Pereira before the end of the year again. We're not going to see McGregor before the end of the year, are we? That's kind of.
No. I don't think we'll ever see him. I don't know.
Reckon?
No. I think he's just doing it for the following, the social. He's got to stay relevant.
He's
somehow.
in that bare knuckle. He's right into that bare knuckle fighting league now. He's promoting that hard. I kind of just watched the 3 end fights for that card. I don't really know what I got up to on Sunday.
Nice.
It was probably pretty cruisy, but had a golf day on Saturday, which we won. That was electric. Played some great golf in the back 9, and had to actually take it to a chip off closest to the pin challenge to bring it home, and managed to put it half a foot closer than the other team. So took home that nice little prize, and I've got another golf day on Friday, so I'm looking forward to it. Nice. Summer's rolling in. We've got daylight savings. Means plenty of golf.
How good.
And the cricket season starts this weekend as well, so looking forward to that. But what I have seen over the weekend, a lot on the internet, was we know how good the Springboks have been this year.
Yeah, pretty good.
We know how good the 2015 All Blacks were. And there's been a lot of conversation around who wins that game. and we had a look at what the public sort of said around that conversation. And 52% of people reckon the current Springboks team would beat that World Cup winning, I guess they're both World Cup winning squads, but the 2015 All Blacks that almost looked unbeatable. Where do you sit on that? 52% reckon that South Africa are beating that team.
Is this a fully fit, the 2024 team, or
fully fit? Yeah. Like when they play their best possible team, playing their best game against that AB's team.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I think that 2015 was probably the most dominant we've ever seen a team. It is insanely stacked. One of my favorite teams of all time, obviously.
So good.
Seeing some of those matchups, some of those pairings, like Retallick, Whitelock, you've got Richie McCaw in there, you've got Kieran Reid, Jerome Kano, you've got Nonu and Smith in the centre, you got Ben Smith at fullback.
Yeah,
one of the best fullbacks ever.
The best player aside Richie McCaw. You got Dan Carter there running the cutter.
Yeah, you've got a prime Milner Scudder before injury.
Mate, he was electric as well.
And then the bench, Victor Vito, Sam Cane, Bowden Barrett, Sonny Bill Williams. It's kind of stacked. So you can see why they did so well. Funnily enough, they didn't win the rugby championship that year.
Did they not?
Nope.
Oh, what?
And that was the Wallabies.
So, the Wallabies won?
Yep.
What?
Yep. This is when Australia were decent. So there's a few. I can see why there's a disparity between these two teams, and why people are saying, well, maybe Springboks edge it. I don't.
Where do you sit on it?
I think nostalgia would say the 2015 team probably takes it, but at the same time, the competitive landscape of 2015 was very different.
Yeah,
they're saying, oh, well, this 2024 team, they lost to Ireland and Argentina.
Yeah. And the 2015 All Blacks didn't lose to Ireland or Argentina, but also Ireland and Argentina weren't as good as they are this year.
And what was that? So the All Blacks beat the Springboks that year in 2015 by 2 points only in a semi-final.
Yeah,
I would argue that we're a lot better than what we were then as well. You've also got Ma'anonu and Conrad Smith is probably the best centre pairing ever. But they take on the most capped Springbok centre partnership of Jesse Creel and Damien Jan Lindy. They've been very consistent for a very long time now, probably since about 2017. But obviously 2024, we have a lot of young guys coming through, and we're experimenting a lot. That's just why I say, is it the strongest team?
Though. Yeah. Wow.
Because Mostert was injured. There was no Faf de Klerk.
What if you take that World Cup winning team? There's 15 that ran out in the World Cup final, who barely beat a 14-man All Black.
I don't know. To be honest, I quite like the younger guys coming through, and I like how we're experimenting at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I like it.
Then you got Pollard at 10, or you have Sasha at 10. I like both those combinations. If you were to say, oh, we take Mani Libok from the Argentina game, I say, okay, no, we get destroyed.
Nope.
Not to single out a player, but you would have to have a perfect game against the 2015 team in order to win, in my opinion. I think 2024 team for South Africa are stacked. Siya Kolisi is probably the best captain of all time, in my opinion.
For South Africa or globally?
I think ever.
Better than Richie?
Yep.
You reckon Kolisi's better captain?
I think he's a better leader, 100%. And not just as a player, as a leader, and as a person.
We got to clip this and see what people say.
Sure. But then again, Aaron Smith, I think, is better than Corpus Reinach. If we have Faf de Klerk, which we didn't this year, I'd say that's a better pairing. So it's situational. We didn't have Mostert this year. Peter Steph du Toit was injured. It's tough. I think we would need a fully stacked team, and I think we'll be able to take them on. But from the 2024, we have too much experimentation. No Damien Valenta either from the World Cup. He was a winning 10 combo for us. I just think there's too much experience in the All Blacks team that they would probably, even with the bomb squad.
I think that's where they edge it out, that experience. And
experience.
The whole grittiness about them. They know they're good.
Yeah.
They knew that they were the best team in the world by a long way. It's probably what they felt like. They had Richie leading them. They had Kieran Reid. They had Dan Carter just
just world class
players in the best positions.
Yeah, world class individuals, but also really well worked combinations. And that knew that worked. Whereas 2024 Springboks is experimentation, and I think that's the difference.
Also, I think that between Dan Carter, Ben Smith, we can cover that aerial threat that South Africa pose with their midfield bombs a little bit better than we have this year. And I think that team could play for a full 120 minutes if need be, where this year's team could play for 60. And notoriously, we're known to blow teams out in their last 20 minutes because of how fit and how gritty the ABs are.
But man, imagine Ches and Colby and Milner Scudder on the same field. Like,
oh, mate.
It's so good.
The slipperiness between the two of them.
Yeah.
And
I just think that's a stronger All Blacks bench as well.
Oh, and some of the names that missed out. Cody Taylor. I'm looking at the starting 15 for the 2015 final. So the guys that missed out on that 23-man squad: Cody Taylor, White Crockett, Tony Woodcock, Liam Messam, TJ Perenara, Malakai Fikitoa, who we talked about last week or the week before, and Waisaki Naholo. They were all part of the squad, but didn't weren't named. You got Kevin Mialamo on the bench, Ben Franks, Victor Vito, like you said, Sam Cane, Bowden Barrett, Sonny Bill Williams. Oh.
I think that's the difference there.
Goodness me. So, are you saying final decision, All Blacks win it?
They probably edge it.
You reckon you have a score? I wonder if we could simulate this on like rugby.
Someone probably could.
Yeah. Someone on like an old Rugby 08 game should make this, I guess. Yeah, make the teams.
I feel like, the reserves are the difference when South Africa is so heavy bomb squad. Yeah. You bring on guys like Bowden Barrett and Sonny Bill, backline are going to get very, very fatigued.
I was watching some of the highlights and some of those SBW offloads, like you just can't stop that.
No.
And then you had Malakai Fikitoa running some of those lines as well with fresh legs off the bench and running off Sonny Bill. Jeepers.
What do you think?
I think the All Blacks win it. I think, just like I said, they knew how good they are. And I think they just had a certain presence in world rugby that they almost felt untouchable.
It's interesting, though, because we're getting way too complex with this now. But would they have that level of untouchability when you're in a completely different competitive landscape? When you have the Springboks that have gone back-to-back World Cups, they just won the championship, Freedom Cup, all that sort of stuff. What happens then to that team? Or you've just gone, they've been teleported from 2015, get dropped on the field. They have to play 2024 Springboks. So, yeah, it's interesting.
That's how I see it happening. And if they get picked up and teleported, bang, and dropped on at Ellis Park, that would be a hell of a game.
Cheat code.
Yeah, I reckon. And just like the way the All Blacks were beating teams that year, like they were just picking teams apart. And I didn't realize we only beat South Africa by 2 points in that
semi.
Forgot about that. But I mean, that's pressure rugby. Anything can happen in a knockout. But the way they just handled themselves on the field, I don't think anyone comes close. But the public are giving South Africa their flowers, and I mean they deserve them for sure. So I see it being a close one. I'd say All Blacks 1-12 if I was a betting man on that.
Yeah,
All Blacks 1-12.
Yeah.
If we look ahead, the Northern Tour for the ABs squad was announced, and then an All Blacks 15. Just real quick, we won't touch on it too much, but was there anyone from that 15 squad that you would have liked to see have a run with the big boys in the main squad? Because for me, the only person I think would be Peter Lakai. I'd like to see him instead of probably a Sam Cane. But I mean, Razor's kind of done what he's done. He's named a very much unchanged squad to go over there and win. Are they playing 6 test matches? To go and win all 6 games. He's got a point to prove. If they don't win 5 or 6 tests over there, it's probably seen as a bit of a failure season for him.
Yeah, not too experimental. Pretty much the only change was Roygaard coming back in, which is huge.
I think that is the only change, yeah. And he looks electric. Oh my God. You see him for counties on the weekend? Yeah. We'll talk about that later, but
maybe Narawa.
Yeah.
I think our wingers have not been overly impressive.
The only one, barring Caleb Clark.
Yes. Nuttawar played well. I'd like to see him get another run in, and I do think he'll do a better job defensively. But that's picking at straws.
I would say do a bit. Most people do a better job defensively.
Probably better
Severis.
Discipline, maybe. But then again, they're playing him at outside centre, so there's not really a spot for him. If that's the case.
We've got so many centres and second 5/8s.
Yeah.
Holy. And then you got that depth in the 15, 11. Riley Higgins is going to play for the All Blacks. I told you that earlier. In the next year or two, he's going to step in where Bowden Barrett. He's going to fill that gap, I reckon. Not Bowden, Geordie.
Oh yeah,
step in that 12 jersey at some point down the line. But yeah, the All Blacks 15. I would like to see them play a couple more games as well. They've only got two.
Not really.
2 games. I think against Munster and someone else. But, and then we could have a look at that All Blacks 15. But the NPC is getting into its knockout rugby now. Yeah. Final round of the NPC. Taranaki lock up the shield for the summer. They steal it off Tasman.
R.I.P. Tasman. Feel bad for them.
Are they gonna see a bit of a Ranfurly Shield hangover? I feel like when teams have lost the Shield this year, they then go on a fat losing streak.
I don't know. I feel like it has more to do with the 2 games in quick succession. You have to go defend Auckland, and then you have to defend Taranaki
back-to-back
Wednesday,
defenses.
Sunday, or whatever it was. So that's probably a huge factor. They were missing 1 or 2 key players as well.
Tavanawa didn't suit up. He could have been one that, if he wasn't injured, be looking at putting on a New Zealand jersey potentially as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like as I said, like NPC's a bit like the NFL last week. You had, what was it, Canterbury beating Waikato.
Yeah.
You had Southland destroying North Harbour. You go to the week previous, Waikato destroy Southland, and then North Harbour destroy Canterbury's. What the hell?
Just completely flips the script.
I just don't understand it.
I think Southland, when they play at home, are different gravy. If they're away,
sure,
no good. But once they get the fans down there and they're playing at home, the atmosphere, they just must feed off it down there because that's where they pull out their big wins.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, I don't think they go on a fat losing streak. Who they play now? Canterbury?
Yeah.
At home?
Yeah. Don't like Canterbury.
Don't like Canterbury.
Marcos.
Waikato also unfortunate with their yellow card. I don't know if you saw it.
No.
Pretty heavy collision. But what happened is the Canterbury winger jumped up to catch the ball, and as he was falling down, the other guy was coming in for the tackle, and it was just like shoulder connection or whatever.
Oh yeah,
so it's high tackle. So that impacted the game quite drastically. But I do see Tasman bouncing back. Yeah, there's a couple of good games in there.
Yeah, and
for the quarters.
One thing that really stood out to me was counties with Roigard, Papali'i, Satutu. Papali'i made the Turbos look like they're an under-12 team. Holy, the speed and the strength of that guy. He's a quality player, and he just showed why he's a step above everyone else. That counties team, they started off 0-4 to start the season. Since then, they've gone 5-1 and are on a 2-game winning streak against some pretty good teams heading into this quarterfinal against the Lions.
Massive game.
If they have their ABs playing for them, if they can run out the same team they ran out last weekend, there could be an upset on the cards here. As much as I don't want to see the Lions bow out in the quarterfinal after finishing top of the table, that's one I could see happening, unfortunately.
It's big. I would imagine Wellington are big favourites for that, though.
Yeah, I think they are $1.30 favourites, potentially $1.20 favourites.
Jeez, $1.20.
Yeah, I'll check that. But there are some good matchups. $1.27.
Well,
in counties, you're paying $3.50. Bay of Plenty, Hawke's Bay. Bay of Plenty look pretty strong.
Hey, those sort of matchups never failed to impress. I think last year they also met in the quarterfinals. 38-28 result. So I expect something big again this week.
Yeah. Take the over.
Take the overs. Waikato Taranaki, also a big game.
Yeah, I reckon Wow, well, dude, Taranaki, do they put everything into that
into
shield?
the Tasman game?
Yeah, and win the shield, and now is that just their win for the season? They lock it up, and now they're pretty satisfied, and maybe they get the Ranfurly Shield hangover against Waikato.
Maybe. Was that their quarters?
Yeah, cheapers. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll do a bit of a punting review on that going into the weekend. So I guess we'll move into the NRL Grand Final, which is it always played on a Sunday? I feel like Sunday it is, but like it just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right.
I felt kind of tired staying up and watching it. It didn't feel like, it was. If it was a Saturday night, you could be at the bar with your mates. Way better atmosphere.
9:50 or 10 o'clock feels more reasonable on a Saturday than it does a Sunday.
Sunday, yeah, big time. But did you stay up and watch the whole game?
Yep.
Assuming so.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about that?
Be lying if I didn't say I was disappointed.
Seems like the bunker and refereeing has kind of been a storyline throughout the whole season. But if you think about the UFC refereeing and judging, and you take that into
more so the judging, actually, in fairness. But
poor weekend,
some controversial calls, but that was always bound to happen. It was more just like Panthers were really good on defense. Yep. They had a good blitz. They were just pushing up real hard. Arguably, I would say they were offside, but that's just me. But yeah, just different gravy for them, really. Just work rate. Liam Martin was fantastic.
Clearly.
Panthers almost let it slip in moments, but, had the bunker to back them up. So
on that try,
if
you're watching the replay,
which one?
The one that they've screenshotted everywhere, and it's the ground.
The Holworth try, yeah.
When you watch it on the replay, and it's actually movement. It's like you watch it all unfold. Obviously, it was given no try on the field. I feel like there's enough there that you could give it a try. But the screenshot that everyone is talking about when they freeze it, I don't think looking at that screenshot, you can't tell the ball's on the ground there. I reckon if you watch it, you can see there's force behind the ball. You can see that it's probably made contact with the ground.
The ball is bouncing off something, yeah.
Yeah, like you can see that. I think in the photo that everyone's outraged about, I look at that and I'm like, it's given no try on the field. If you just look at that static photo, I don't think there's enough there to give it a try.
In real time, I thought it was a try, and watching the replays, I was like, that's the ball.
Yeah.
Since then, I would say his arm is 100% under the ball.
Yeah, so you reckon no try?
I don't think it was a try. I thought it was, and at real time, but what I thought I was seeing was actually his arm, not the ball. Yeah. The ball was bouncing off his arm, and that's still there. It's just his arm fully underneath.
That's what I mean. Like, you can't tell that ball's
not
on the ground.
Yeah.
But everyone's talking about that one. Like, that specific shot. They're like, how is this not a try?
Yeah.
Because you can't.
From some angles, it looks like a try, and then you look at that one, you're like, that's arm under ball, 100%. Yeah. So it's fine. I'm like, if you're gonna replay it that much, you then have to replay the Taruva try that much.
Yeah,
because that ball did not touch the grass.
No.
That was under the arm 100%, and he just slid all the way out.
Yeah, I don't think they ever made contact with a blade of grass.
No, definitely not.
Which is unfortunate because it's double standards.
And you're never going to check that, though. They're never going to check that. They're never going to... slow motion replay that one, please.
And if they did, they would have got it off pretty quickly. Yeah,
there's a pretty bad slow-mo on the internet at the moment. I just go, man.
Yeah, no, I saw that this morning.
But yeah, like, pretty disappointing final.
Again, it just kind of reflects the whole final series, doesn't it?
Compare it to the 2023. You're like, man, what a game that was. This one just didn't have that. I mean, Storm did the best they could. Panthers were just too good defensively.
Yeah, I mean, although the Storm scored first, I feel like it was very much against the run of the play. Panthers dominated the majority, 75% of that game. Yeah, and probably, they did deserve their fourth on the trot.
Definitely the better team on the day.
And Liam Martin paying $34 for the Clive Churchill medal. I did not realise that's what he was paying. But Guy put in a massive effort, stotted down as well. And I think he clearly deserved it. Was there anyone else that you thought maybe could have grabbed it?
I think Liam Martin was a standout.
Yeah.
Nah.
Did you have any bets on the game? You didn't bet on Liam Martin?
I had that Storm 1-12.
Oh, yeah.
And I was backing the brother Hughes to get it done, but just didn't come to fruition.
I had a nice little running meters 4-leg multi, which basically cashed by half time. It was nice.
Nice.
But that was the only winnings I saw over the weekend, unfortunately. But it was good to actually win it on the big stage, you know? It felt good winning on the big stage. Now that the season is over, I just wanted to do a top 3 moments of the 2024 NRL season. You know those TikTok edits when it's like, the season has come to a close, and it's like a little montage. That's what I feel like we could do, but we'll just have to voice over it
and not use any NRL footage whatsoever.
Did you have top 3 moments? I feel like our number 1 both will be the same, surely.
I don't think it will be.
Okay.
I seriously don't think it will be.
All right.
If I am, I'll be very impressed.
Don't go your number 1.
No.
But give me one of them.
Number 3, beating the Panthers, Magic Round, what was described as our B team. Beat the champions, now champions, 22-20.
Yeah, well,
the week after that as well, beating the Dolphins at home 24-20. So back-to-back, that was just a really good 2 weeks. But I think, Magic Round Panthers.
That was actually a highlight for me because that was my first ever Warriors game I went to, the Dolphins one.
The Dolphins one.
Yeah,
that was good.
So, that's a good moment for the Wars fans.
Yeah.
I had in number 3 the Hammers 90-meter try against the Sharks, where he basically told 5 grown men to get off him and ran 90 meters off the field, slipping through tackles, and unbelievable try. So the Hammers 90-meter try slots into my number 3. Your number 2?
Not so much an in-game moment, but a moment of the season where the Warriors announced James Fisher-Harris as signing for the next season. That was just everywhere.
Have you gone Warriors specific for these?
No.
No, okay.
They have so many just good memes and Instagram posts around it. The heat was everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. It was such a peak moment in the season for James Fisher-Harris to come back to Kiwi land. And I'm still looking forward to next season purely because of that signing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. I had an honourable mention was Mitch Moses sealing Origin for the Blues. That try I scored just from a Blues fan. Yeah. That was nice. But
State of Origin was good.
Honourable. Yeah, it was. Just all 3 games were good. But my number 2 was the Xavier Coates try of the year. Unreal athleticism to get that ball down. I think, was it actually awarded try of the year?
Yeah.
It was?
Yeah. I wanted to put that in there, but then I was like, well, that was against the Warriors, so I'm not going to do that.
I know.
But that whole play was unreal.
Yeah.
The whole thing was insane.
Yeah, that was a hell of a moment. And unreal skills.
Gut-wrenching for the Wars fans.
Unfortunately. I want to know what your number 1 is now. Go on.
We went to Sydney and we watched the Roosters versus Panthers live over there. And we got to see in front of us Joey Manu pretty much break his neck for a try. Almost sort of like, I don't know, sort of like Chris Brown just sliding on his neck over the try line, dotting it down. Sort of, what's that movie, like Step Up?
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It was like, have we just watched Try of the Year? But no, it got disallowed controversially.
Yeah.
Because the ref was a grub and it was against the Panthers. So if that try was awarded, we could have we would have seen the 22-22 Golden Point game. Yeah. If you take those points into account, obviously.
True.
Which would have been insane.
Live, insane.
And that not being rewarded was just so disappointing for everyone in the stadium because it was such a good try and it was just obstruction and Jerome Luai, nah.
What was the atmosphere in that when that try was scored initially in the stadium?
It was peak. We were just surrounded by Roosters fans, obviously.
Were you up giving it some?
I can't remember what I was doing. I think I just looked at my brother in shock. Was just like, what the hell's just happened? Beers going flying and then it got and then the booze as it got called off, disappointing. But yeah, that was peak for me because that try, I was even looking at the try highlights again recently, and I was just like, yeah, that's sick.
Did that get put in the try highlights, even though it was disallowed?
No. Oh. No. It was just like on a TikTok package.
Yeah, okay. Well, I had one against the Warriors. This one, obviously, for the Warriors, and it's SJ's game-winning try assist. Final game ever for the Warriors.
Yeah.
You couldn't have scripted any better to bow out that way, unless it was in a grand final.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Valid.
As a Warriors fan.
Is that against the Sharks?
It was against the Sharks.
Yeah.
So I've had 2 of my top 3 were against the Sharks. And the Warriors have involved in 2.
That was crazy, actually.
That was unreal.
That was perfect.
Just that moment for that to happen, how it did.
Yeah.
How it all unfolded.
Yeah.
Perfect for the Prince of Penrose.
Mad.
So that, all right. Top 3. Nice. Good season. Thoughts?
Nice.
Overall?
How good Broncos finishing 12th after all but winning the grand final last year. Although we finished 13th, but still funny to see Broncos in 12th with the ego of that team. Now Madge has come in, NSW coach.
Yeah.
Be good. I reckon he'll give them a rough time, and he'll sort some discipline in that change room, I reckon. And they'll be scary next year.
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing what the off-season chats are surrounding all the clubs in the NRL. But I'm sure we'll cover some of that as time goes on, as storylines start to unfold.
I'm sure there'll be some players in the headlines doing something.
It's 100% going to be. It'll be like the Chiefs NFL off-season. Yeah. Those guys just couldn't stay out of the media, and the league will follow. We don't have Premier League again or any football. We have football, but it's the second international break
Nations
in 7 weeks.
Yeah.
The Nations Cup. God damn. So, we don't have any Premier League to look forward to this weekend.
And we're not going to preview the Nations Cup because who cares about that?
We're not going to look at... actually, although, Cole Palmer, did you know just got named English Player of the Year? Men's Player of the Year?
How?
I think the public vote on it.
Oh, okay.
But the England Football Association give the award out.
Interesting.
Jude Bellingham finished second. Bukayo Saka finished third. But yeah, Cole Palmer, English Men's Player of the Year. So,
did he get much game time?
That's what I was thinking.
I feel like he didn't play that much.
Like his impact when he did on the bench, unreal. But he didn't play a heck of a lot.
I almost feel like Ollie Watkins off the bench was more impactful in some of those games. Anyway, if you take the general season, not just English football, he has been standing.
I don't know what
that's weird.
I saw that today and I was like, hey, the heck? But so if we go back to last weekend, some mixed results. But I just wanted to go the best goal of the weekend, the best game of the weekend, and then your MVP for week 7 of the Premier League. We'll go best goal first.
Oh, well, can I just say Brentford 4 in a row, scoring first again, this time in minute 20, so technically the second minute. But my God, regardless, 4 in a row.
80 seconds. 80 seconds.
And West Ham actually scored in the first minute against Ipswich.
We got to get Antonio. A freaking special book out for...
A minute special.
Yeah, a 1 minute special. Any team in the Premier League to score on the first minute.
Hammer it. So, best game of the weekend then?
Yeah, go best game.
I'm going, actually, Brentford Wolves for the 8-goal flurry. The first one came in the minute 20, as we just talked about.
Yep.
Then there was a reply from Wolves in the 3rd minute. Then Brentford score a pen in the 20th minute. Then Wolves scored 5 minutes after that. And then a minute after that, Brentford score again. 3-2. Chaotic. Hasn't even been 30 minutes yet. I think it was 4-3 by half-time. 5-3 full-time.
Yeah, that's mental.
8 goals in a game. Yes, please. What was it? 7 of those by half-time? Yes, please.
That's crazy. A great viewing from a spectator's point of view.
Yeah, it was good.
Heck of a day out. I think that game was always going to promise goals because both of those teams' defenses are leaky, to say the least.
In particular, Wolves. Yeah.
So, no surprises that was a goal fest.
Yeah.
I had Brighton Spurs. Yeah. Just because I love seeing Spurs lose. And
that was a great second half.
Lose. And exactly. In that fashion. Also, the last goal, Danny Welbeck, ex-Arsenal player, scoring against Tottenham to win it for Brighton. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, that was in contention for mine, so I agree. That's a great second half.
Did you have a goal of the weekend?
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but Fulham's opening goal against Manchester City.
Andreas Pereira.
But it's not just the goal, it's the flick pass from Raul Jimenez.
Yeah.
It's a backheel flick
Over
that just dupes all the Man City defenders.
Yeah.
And Pereira's just there going, yes, please.
Yeah.
It was insane. I had to replay. I was like, what just happened? I feel like the ball glitched and it just appeared in the air.
Yeah, no, it was weird, eh?
But he flicks it like from
right
behind
foot.
him.
Yeah, it was
flicks it over the top. Oh,
such a
disgusting goal.
Finesse of a touch to get that over.
Just to know he's there behind you as well. And it was perfect. Like the
and
perfect
against
ball.
Man City.
Yeah.
I had that down as my goal of the weekend as well. It's hard to argue with. But there was also another good goal in that game from Jeremy Doku, who scored for City from outside the box, just lasered one from his right peg.
Yeah.
Not quite top bins, but
there was some good
to beat the keeper.
Yeah, there were some good place goals across the week. But that pass.
Yeah, that's the goal of the week purely because of the assist, I think.
Yeah. And because it's Man City.
And it's Fulham scoring.
And it's Fulham scoring.
Yeah. Glorious. MVP?
Jorginho from Brighton.
Okay.
He had a goal in the second half against Tottenham, and also the work rate to get to that ball. He came sliding in, managed to get it before the byline or whatever, and then flicks it over. Like, he went sliding for that ball. He was fully committed on getting that ball across the field.
Yeah.
And just his little flick through the defense, sprinting after it, sliding across, kicking it over for Welbeck. I thought he was MVP. He had a great second half.
Yeah, fair.
Chef's kiss.
It just sounds like I'm
Bukayo Saka
biased, but it is Bukayo Saka. Well, we went down 1-0.
Yeah.
And this kid, because he is still a kid, he's 22.
It's crazy.
Has a goal and 2 assists to lead us to a 3-1 win. After having a goal and assists midweek in the Champions League. This guy's on a tear. He's got 10 goals and assists through 10 games this season across all competitions. And he is just the most valuable player. Maybe besides, David Raya. The two of them probably in contention, but the most valuable players for Arsenal. We're not winning games without Bukayo Saka this year. And if we are going to have any chance of winning the league, it'll be because of him. So he was my MVP for the week. I mean, he saved Arsenal's ass at home. We can't drop points in that game. And I think Bukayo Saka knew that. And he stood up. And he did the dirty work and got it done. Because there isn't a lot to look at, I wanted to take a look at the other leagues across Europe, which we haven't done before. But the French league, not too much of interest there. There's no Mbappe anymore at PSG. There's not a whole lot going on. Serie A, Bundesliga, interesting to see how Bayer Leverkusen are going this year. They're currently sitting in like 5th. They are not going unbeaten this year, that's for sure. They had a loss. Frankfurt had a 2-2 draw with Bayern. 3-3 draw with Bayern, who are at the top of the table. So
we are Dortmund.
Dortmund are second.
Yeah. That 7-2 game, some of those goals were absolutely insane in that Champions League match. So I did wonder how they were actually going in the table, because they looked incredible, especially that one midfielder, I think. I forgot his name, but he was just shooting from everywhere. I think he got 4. He got 3 or 4 in the first. I think it was 3 in the first half. Incredible.
I think that's second, but failed to get a win after their Champions League game.
I will say I did watch Napoli play recently. It was 2 weeks ago. Now that Scott McTominay's there.
Fair.
Lukaku's playing for them as well. I think they both came off the bench and scored.
Yeah.
Secured a win for them, so that was cool to see.
I actually do. I think the Italian football atmosphere, the coach,
as well. Yeah.
Like, I have a mate who was at Inter Milan's last game, and the videos he was sending look unreal.
Yeah.
Like, it does look cool, but I just can't watch it on.
No, I'll watch highlights. That's about it.
La Liga is a little bit more interesting. Carvajal's out for the season for Real Madrid. And I've seen a lot of chat about if Real Madrid win the Champions League, should Mbappe win Ballon d'Or? A lot of people saying no because he's not even the main man in that Real Madrid team. Behind the likes of Vinny, Jude, they've just got a stacked team. So Rodrigo, yeah.
It comes down to the stats, doesn't it? Surely, not the name.
For some reason, penalties in the La Liga are just absurd at the moment. Plenty of penalties being saved and just a whole bunch of wild things happening around.
David De Gea saved 2 for Fiorentina last week. So.
And Lamine Yamal and Rafinha are absolutely balling out for Barcelona. But while they're doing that, Lewandowski only needs 32 minutes to score a hat-trick. So that Barcelona team...
Is that 11 goals, 11 games for Lewandowski?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that Real Madrid are... Who's first? I want to say Barcelona are first and have only lost 1 game. Real Madrid are second, haven't lost a game, but have drawn 3 maybe. So, interesting there. And, I mean, we've not really talked a whole lot about the Champions League, but...
You're correct.
The Champions League... How do you feel about the whole format this year? I don't really know about it.
Yeah. Well, Man United aren't even in it, so who cares about Champions League?
Yeah. Man City are claiming a win against the Premier League, but the Premier League are also claiming a win. And they're one of their court cases.
Okay.
So I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, moving aside from football, big news if we jump over to America. And we take a look at the NBA, which is going to get started in maybe a week or 2. Preseason's on at the moment. Yep. LeBron and Lassid become the first ever father-son duo in the NBA to play together, which is insane.
Did they play together?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the preseason game, Bronny checked in, and I think he was just watching, and he said in one of his post-game talks, he was like, I just watched my dad storm down the lane and dunk on someone and do a reverse layup, and I was just like, that's my dad. That's crazy. He's not allowed to call him dad, though, in the facility. It's Bron. It's Bron.
Yeah.
But I find it so funny how they call him Bronny Lassid. So good. But that inspired me to have a look at some father-son duos or just some greatest sporting families. The one that kind of stuck out was Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr., both played for the Mariners. And the reason why they stuck out was because they hit back-to-back home runs in the same game.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Sr. steps up, sends one over the fence, and then son steps up, does the same thing.
That's cool.
That's unreal.
That is cool.
Greatest sporting families. There are so many. So many from New Zealand as well.
The
Adams family. Stephen Adams. Valerie Adams.
True.
Goats. The Barrett family.
Yeah, the Barretts.
You can't go past.
3 sons in the same international team. Come on.
Yep. Sticking with New Zealand. Martin and Jeff Crow. Sticking with cricket. Chris and Lance Cairns. Both arguably probably some of New Zealand's best all-rounders. Coming one after the other.
McCallums.
Yep. I didn't know them down. Brendan and Nathan McCullum. Yeah. Great shout. Stephen Mark War for Aussie. The Whitelocks. The Whitelocks they like the Barretts, 3 All Blacks play. Luke and was it George also played for the All Blacks? Serena and Venus Williams.
Yeah, that's a big one, eh?
They were like genuinely 2 goats of the sport.
Yeah. What, 25? I actually have something on this. 25 career single Grand Slam titles and 13 double Grand Slams as partners.
Yeah. I think the crazy part about
that. They have a movie about them. Like,
do they?
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And potentially, I guess they got to be like up there with the most famous siblings of all time.
I think so. Like, just what they've achieved.
Yeah.
Individually and together. Because, like, you could have 2 great tennis players who win singles titles. Like, you see Roger, you see Sharapova, for staying in the women's game, win singles titles. None of those guys or girls win doubles titles either.
Yeah.
And the fact that the 2 sisters are doing 13 it together.
Doubles, yeah.
Unreal. So cool from them. Yeah. What's their movie or doco?
It's the one with Will Smith in it, isn't it? I can't remember what the name is now.
Oh, have you seen it?
No, it's on my watch list though, which is why I know. The Mayweathers as well.
Yep.
He's one of the wealthiest dudes out there at the moment.
Yep.
Something about the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
The stalls or the stalls?
Probably like a
what is Canadian it? The Hurricanes.
Oh yeah.
The
Carolina
Hurricanes.
Yeah.
All three brothers played for them at one point.
Oh really?
And I think what they're saying, Eric and Jordan were both number 2 picks. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, ice hockey moment.
Yeah. Have your time, ice hockey.
Yeah.
Fair.
But yeah, I think the Williams probably trumped that.
What about the Mannings? There was
that's an interesting
Archie
one.
Manning, who fathered Eli and Peyton.
Yes.
All three play in the NFL. And now their nephew, Arch Manning, is tearing up the college
Is he also
scene.
a Manning?
Yep.
Is your name's Manning?
Yep.
Okay, that's valid.
I think the other son, so there's Archie had Peyton, Eli.
Yes.
And then another son as well.
Right.
The other son, that's Arch Manning's dad.
Okay.
So his Arch's uncles are two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And it sounds like he has the athletic speed. Well, the other brother was a track star, so he's got those genes as well as the quarterback IQ. The Mannings, Eli and Peyton, couldn't run. They were not mobile at all. Arch can, which is wild. So there's now a third generation of Mannings probably going to be in the NFL, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Serena and Venus are probably...
Purely from a dominance standpoint. Having 3 brothers in a team, having 3 brothers in an international team, even better.
That is wild.
Having 3 family members in the NFL, but I think the dominance factor of not only singles, but also playing together, that's cool.
I reckon and this can't happen, but if Arch was one of Peyton or Eli's sons, and then, because Peyton and Eli both won Super Bowls, if Arch went on and won a Super Bowl, you can make a case there.
That's a huge case.
But yeah, I don't think you can look past Serena and Venus.
No.
To be honest. Give them their flowers.
Indeed.
That's all I had. Was there any other families? There's some good ones out there.
Not off the top of my head.
Some pretty wild stats around brothers playing, sisters playing.
Yeah.
I couldn't find so much about a father-son duo in the league.
Oh, you could talk about the Maldinis? Italians?
There's 3 generations of
That's
footballers.
up there.
Yeah. But did they ever play together?
I don't think they played together.
See, that's the wild part about LeBron and Bronny, is that they're playing together.
That is weird.
Imagine rocking up to
so weird, man.
You're pursuing your professional endeavors as an athlete, and you rock up to the facility in your dad's car. Yo, let's go get to work.
It would almost be cool to be in a separate team from your dad.
Play against him?
Yeah.
Although, imagine if your dad dunked on you.
Yeah.
Ugh. You were never hearing the end of that for the rest of your life.
Awkward dinner table conversation.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all we have. So we'll be back with the odds on Friday, where we look ahead at the weekends.
Nice.
NPC quarterfinals. Bathurst was come around very quickly. That's up. And we'll figure out what else we're going to look at. We're not going to look at Nations Cup.
No, we will not.
Probably look at some NFL from me, maybe. But yeah, thanks for listening. And we will see you next time.